I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, as always, your TV Guidance Counselor, and this is the show where each and every week since February 2014, I have welcomed an interesting person to the show to talk TV and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about, using back issues of TV Guide magazine as the inspiration for our conversation, and this week is no exception. My guest this week is Sean Keane, and Sean is a San Francisco-based comedian and a sports writer, and just a hell of a good dude. Also a dog owner, very cute dog that he has, although you won't see it here, but I did see it, and I enjoyed that dog. I like that dog. I like to pet that dog. Anyway, Sean has a new comedy record out called America's Uncle Dad that you should pick up. It is very funny, and he is very funny. I highly recommend that. It's a great record. You'll enjoy it. Like, stop now. It's on Blonde Medicine, and just go buy it right now, and then come back and listen to the episode, because at the end, you'll wish you had, because it's very funny. Also, if you have a couple bucks every month and can be a patron of this show, why did I say patron so weird? Patron of this show, and you have $5 or more a month, you would get a PDF of the TV guide that Sean and I are looking at this week, and you can follow along. You can make your own picks, whatever you like. And if you pay for a year at once, you get 2 months free. So I believe it's $50 for a whole year, if you have it. If you don't, that's good too. I'm just happy you're here and happy you're listening. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, America's Uncle Dad, Sean Keane.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from, you're still in San Francisco, right?
Oakland, but yeah.
Oakland, okay. The Bay Area.
Yeah.
Sean Keane, how are you?
I'm good. They're actually considering, the city of Oakland wants to change the name of Oakland Airport to San Francisco Bay Oakland International Airport, which will lead to people going to the wrong airport all the time, is what they would do.
When I went out to San Francisco for the first time, I was so shocked how close Alameda, Oakland, and Berkeley and San Francisco are.
Yeah,
like
and San Francisco's not
2
very
miles
big
apart.
either. Yeah.
No, because the way people would talk about it, because first of all, they all like have their own airport. Right? There's like four airports there.
Yeah.
Which just seems like people being like, I know I could go to that airport, but I don't want to go to their airport.
Yeah. No, I mean, even next to my hometown of Pleasant Hill, there's an airport in Concord that seems like it is there for no reason at all.
Just
like
one
they
guy.
built it and thought they'd have a lot going, and then they're like, well, we already built it, so we don't really have any choice now.
Now I guess we have it, so we'll have to use it. Yeah, I could not believe how close all those places were.
Yeah.
Like they were like, well, you're going to go all the way to Oakland. I'm like, it's like a 5-minute drive. What are you
It's
talking
not.
about?
It's one bridge or a 15-minute train ride. Yeah,
You could probably
and it's
swim
on a
there.
monorail for no reason. For no reason, it's a monorail.
Yeah, I did have an excellent breakfast in Oakland. It was in like an old department store.
Oh wow! I mean, that seems. I don't know exactly what you mean, but that's on brand for Oakland. Yeah,
It was like a big Art Deco building, and they had like a cafe in it. It was really good.
Oh yeah.
But you grew up, as you said, in the Bay Area, correct?
I did. I grew up like half an hour east of Oakland and like 45 minutes east of San Francisco. We'd refer to it as the Far East occasionally.
The Far East?
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Right.
For me, that would be, yeah. Because my other like touchstone for that area is just like being in punk bands in the 90s and like the East Bay Gilman Street punk scene.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff. So I had, again, only heard about it from there. And then when I went there, I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one where you drive past it. Also, now you go past and you're like, what's around Gilman Street? It's like, well, there's a Whole Foods. there's an artisan coffee place across from a different artisan coffee place, and Gilman's kind of there, and it's like, yeah, all the stuff that
open.
I don't know if it's still open. I just mean literally all in Gilman's. I would probably guess not, but maybe. I don't know. Yeah, the punk scene is now going to music festivals. Although we did know a guy who was in the band Jawbreaker, owned a video store in the Mission, and they started doing comedy shows downstairs. Well, they had a screening room, and then they started doing comedy there, and then they did comedy all the time. And they still weren't able to hold out as a video store in 2013 or whatever it was, but they did. Jawbreaker suddenly did like one reunion show, and suddenly there was this great groundswell, and now they've made far more money off the band this decade than they had in the previous 3, basically. So yeah.
Oh yeah, on their last reunion tour, they had comics open and all the
it was great
shows, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was just a great place. They met so many. The drummer met so many comics there that they actually ended up having like a very well curated list of comedians too, because they'd all gone through and performed at the basement of the video store. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that worked out for them, because your business model's bad when you're supplementing it with comedy shows.
Yeah. Oh, oof. You don't want to invite
we need to get some people in here.
Yeah, it's like it's one step above just being like, yeah, we do rat training in here for extra money. These rat.
We're gonna do a karaoke
fans.
night, but it was kind of, you had to pay for the songs.
It was a little too classy. We needed like the hobos of the performing world. Stand-up comics need to come. Yeah.
Yes, one of the few arts where if people are good at it, it doesn't look like they are doing anything, and when they're bad at it, it doesn't look like they're doing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So people are very good about that. Were you going into the city a lot when you were growing up, or was it kind of like rarely going to San Francisco?
I mean, my dad worked in the city, but I wouldn't really go myself. I think I started going when I was like 14 or 15. That was the point when I think I took Bart to a concert with my girlfriend when I was end of my freshman year. And, I'd go to baseball games and things, but I would kind of get confused about going anywhere that didn't have a defined parking lot was always kind of confusing. And then I moved to San Francisco when I was 24. So I would go there a lot, like once I was actually in college. Yeah.
So for people who don't know, BART is the transportation system.
Oh,
dude that you know.
Yes. Bay Area Rapid Transit, which was so futuristic in the 60s. And then they realized you don't really want a monorail. You want more than one track, because if a train stops, you just have the one rail. Multiple rails are the way to go. You
want a backup.
You want
What
something.
would it be called? Like a dual rail, or like a quad rail?
Any of that would have been better. Yeah.
We've got a new thing we're working on. It's a half rail. We can't decide if it should go vertical or horizontal.
And even normally when people have monorails, it's like, oh, this is good for a densely populated urban area that makes a lot of stops. And now they've got this system where it's like, all right, 40 miles in either direction on a monorail. And at no point were they like, this could have been a bus. This probably could have been buses. Yeah.
We could probably do water taxis.
Yeah.
So I bring it up because San Francisco, like Boston, which obviously I grew up here, and all my views are skewed because of Boston. It has a lot of weird similarities, and San Francisco always had a TV show. Like every decade, there's a TV show that shoots in San Francisco.
Right.
And it was like, and I think around the time you were growing up, I think you're a little younger than me, and around the time of the TV guide you picked, it was Nash Bridges.
Oh, yeah. And, it was everybody's one acting credit, too.
Yes.
Is that they could be on a Nash Bridges. Yeah.
Every comedian in the whole city was a murderer on Nash Bridges.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's something wrong with that guy, is the casting for that. Yeah. Yeah.
We've run out of people. Yeah, we had same thing. And then before Nash Bridges, it was Midnight Caller. And then I forget what the 70s show was.
Streets of San Francisco.
Streets of San Francisco. That makes sense.
Yeah. Full House is set there, but was not shot there. I believe Party of Five is also shot in Los Angeles.
Was that set there? That feels
yeah,
very
they would
Berkeley.
kind of mispronounce things by saying them the way you would think you should say them. And you're like, no, this is San Francisco. It's a lot of like sort of Spanglish and weirdly accented letters that you wouldn't expect. And yeah, they always said they lived in No Valley instead of Noe Valley. And the real heads were like, I don't even think those kids are actually siblings. I don't.
They're like, you know what? I believed everything about this show until that.
Until then, yeah, and now
it all came crumbling down. A few years back, we had some phone scam that was calling old people, being like, "We're from your bank and give us all your info." But it was they were saying they were from Woburn Bank, and you pronounce it Woburn, but they were like, "Hi, I'm calling from Woburn Bank," and they were like, "You're from fucking Woburn, you piece of shit!" Like they were just like, no one would fight. And so it was very funny. Yeah, that's how they do it. So the issue you picked was June 30th to July 6th, 2001. You got Jerry Seinfeld on the cover, and this will sound much sexier than it is, blowing bubbles.
Yeah. Yep. He's blowing bubbles, and he's not promoting anything. That's the weird thing about it is it's all about how he's not on TV and basically has no plans to return. This might have been a slow period for the TV season, the like early June.
Well, generally, this is a weird era because we're June 2001, so we're right before 9/11, which obviously changed a ton of things, but really changed television as well. Like all the comedy series they had lined up for that fall were either canceled or just had no chance. They were like, we're going to do reality TV and 24, and that's it.
Yeah, we were launching a comedy show, and we were like, we got sponsors, we got a bar to have it, we decided to have it on an off night, not started too early in the semester, so we were like, September 11th, 2001, that's when we're going to launch this wildly successful comedy show, which was also, I think, the date that Freaks and Geeks was supposed to premiere, or maybe even did premiere. I think they probably didn't have any shows, right? Oh, it's undeclared. It's undeclared.
Yes, Freaks and Geeks was 2 years before, but Undeclared was one of the shows that were victims of 9/11, which sounds very, very overstating. But Undeclared, The Tick, Keane Eddie. There was like another really good Arrested Development, which managed to pull it out later. But so this summer they were like, comedy's been gone, because when did Seinfeld end? 99?
I think 98. Yeah.
98. There really weren't any comedies that had taken over. Like Friends was still on, but kind of long in the tooth. Nothing really no sitcoms had really made a huge impact. So it's a really weird article where TV Guide is basically like, "Hey Jerry, will you do another show?"
Yeah, look at the ratings for Raymond.
It's very weird. Which I will say, never really watched Raymond when it was on. I prefer it to Seinfeld now.
Oh, wow.
Here's the theory of the case. It holds up better as a just throw it on kind of show, whereas Seinfeld was amazing at the time, super innovative, but since the jokes were mostly all based on plot and surprise, it's kind of not that great to rewatch. Whereas I never watched Raymond and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. I'll chuckle a couple times.
It's funny because Ray Romano kind of since Raymond has proved that he could just actually act. He's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But you wouldn't necessarily expect another show where he's the straight man the whole time. So, yeah, I still don't know if I've seen a full Raymond before, but I feel like I should give it a chance. And I remember I would read Entertainment Weekly, and they'd always have notes about, what Raymond was doing well and wasn't. And I was kind of, it was fine. And my friend used to do a Ray Romano impression, which he didn't realize was actually a Brad Garret impression.
Oh.
And we were kind of like, we don't have the heart to tell him. He's doing Raymond's brother right now. That's...
At least you were like, we don't have the heart, and you weren't like, I haven't watched the show enough to definitively really tell him it's wrong.
Maybe Ray does that, but it was very much like people like Raymond better.
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of like, well, I've seen Ray Romano speak, and it's not like that.
He's got a distinctive voice, and his character probably wouldn't say his own name that much.
Yeah.
Do you know, speaking of voices and Brad Garrett, do you know what he did voices for prior to Everybody Loves Raymond?
No.
He did a ton of cartoon voices, and most notably, all of the wrestlers' voices on Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
Wow.
So
I also
he's
like
like
the idea.
Junkyard Dog, everybody.
I like the idea that he went in there to audition for one part and was kind of like, no, you only need one man to handle this entire crew of wrestlers.
What a stand-up comedian gig, though, where he's like, wait a minute, can I get paid slightly more and I'll do all the voices?
Yeah, much more work, 30% more wages.
Sign me up. Romano, I think I didn't watch Raymond because I loved his stand-up, and then when the show came out, it seemed really... Even though in hindsight is very representative of his stand-up, seemed not representative of his stand-up, and I was like, this doesn't really fit. But I was wrong.
I remember expecting it to also be more Letterman-esque because it was a worldwide pants show, and then I remember it was a good pick as a producer for David Letterman, and probably good that it wasn't like trying to be a Letterman sitcom, but
it wouldn't have been on for 15 seasons.
No, it would not. Maybe not 15
for.
episodes, honestly.
You look at all the other Worldwide Pants productions, they did not stick around, and some of them were great. Jerry Seinfeld, a really terrible actor to the point where he doesn't even play Jerry Seinfeld convincingly.
Right. Oh, exactly, yeah.
So I don't know what he would even be in. Like, there's a reason he hasn't been in anything since Seinfeld, aside from the fact that he's incredibly wealthy. But, like, what's he going to be in? You're not casting him in things.
No, right. Like, he's only and he's probably, like, smart enough to realize, I could play Jerry Seinfeld in this, and Jerry Seinfeld in this other thing. And then he did that Marriage Ref show, which I think... in hindsight, was more of a Tom Papa vehicle.
Yes.
And I think he was probably just like, well, Tom Papa's really funny. We could do this.
I'll throw my name on it.
I'll be in the first episode and then go back to my cars.
He's never going to have that third act dramatic turn. You know,
no, that is not going to happen. Yeah, like
Jerry Seinfeld plays an AIDS patient who's a murderer, like whatever. He's going to get an Oscar. Whatever it is, it ain't happening. But weird article. I also there's an ad for. So this is after the cigarette ads all went away in TV Guide, which was like the mid '90s.
Oh, okay.
So I always like seeing what kind of replaces it, and for the most part, they're replaced with prescription drug ads. But this one has really weird mix of ads. There's an ad for Bose speakers, then a weird extra gum ad that's somehow about medical malpractice, and then an M&Ms ad where they're like all spilled out and the green M&Ms spelled desire.
That is very weird. And then what is it about the green ones? And it's very strange. Like, it feels very pre 9/11, even though I don't know why exactly that would have changed, but just like we're all so bored that we have to sexualize this. And I mean, I guess it continued. I guess we've had sexy M&M stuff ever since. But yeah, that one was very weird. That surprised me.
It's like, what? Because it's like, all right, guys, here's the pitch. Everyone loves M&Ms. So what if there's one that you really want to fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And like, they're going to make you horny. That's what we need.
Everyone else in the room should be like, is Dave okay? Like,
no, arrange them like this.
Yeah,
slower.
Like, perfect. We love it. We're in. Then Big Brother was on, which I forgot about. I can't believe that show's still on.
That is wild because I feel like it was almost. I mean, I'm sure it's a British show first, but CBS was pushing it as a vehicle for Les Moonves's wife.
Yes.
Right? Because she hosted it, and it was just never going to be canceled at that point, I guess.
It was weird. I think it started as a UK ripoff of The Real World. Mm-hmm. And then they did it here for a season, and it was a huge bomb. And then it was the biggest reality show in like every country in the world had their own version. So then they did it again here, and then it kind of worked. Although I don't remember anyone who was ever like, oh, I gotta watch, I love Big Brother. But it was always on like 8 nights a week. Yes.
And during the summer, just constantly. And then when the internet started, they just decided, like, we're just going to live stream every single thing that happens here.
Yeah.
Just hoping something will stick.
We won't have to hire interns to do time codes because the people at home will do it for us.
I remember there was an early season of Big Brother, and I remember someone complaining because the cast members were convinced that the house was haunted because they would hear people moving around, but it wasn't a house. It was just on a set at set. CBS, and there were camera people in the crew who they knew were walking around, and they said it was like the most frustrating thing as a viewer because, of course, there's nothing to do. So it was like an 8-minute segment on the show, people getting scared of the ghosts, and
because you can't watch TV, you can't do things you would do if you were bored.
But it's like, you're not in a real house. You walked in from the set. Like, you didn't wake up here.
I've seen some of those people. They're not that bright. Like, there's a reason you don't see a lot of, like, former Big Brother contestant and congressional It's like every other reality show, sure, but that one's, like, super bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he really parlayed that into, a CEO job.
And he's now the world's leading brain surgeon.
The ad that really jumped out to me was a Franklin Mint ad for the Vanna doll.
Oh, yes.
And it's definitely being pitched as a doll you can dress up in different outfits, but also a collectible that is going to gain value.
That is the classic Franklin Mint move, and they actually got sued because this is a fascinating court case where this guy cashed in his entire life savings and bought Franklin Mint and Bradford Exchange stuff, and then it was worth nothing. So he sued them, being like, they said this would increase they gave me bad investment advice. He lost, obviously.
Yeah.
But every time there's one of these things in here, I always will go on eBay and be like, what does this sell for now? Because this Vanna doll, which, it's kind of nice. It comes with, it's made of vinyl. It's got a little wardrobe with it. It's 3 equal monthly installments of $45. It's with the shipping, it's almost $150.
Yeah. And it's no money down, but you are also signing this contract in blood for your Vanna doll.
And they really describe her gross. It says, a remarkable resemblance from her creamy complexion to her sparkling brown eyes to her petite figure and gorgeous blonde hair. Through state-of-the-art craftsmanship, she's fully posable, and this is the weirdest thing, and virtually seamless.
And then I'm like, but there is a seam? Like, now I'm thinking about the seam, and
But why would, someone's like, that's pretty good, but tell me about her seams.
Yeah. Is it seamless? Virtually.
You probably won't notice if you're not a seam professional.
Also, the different outfits in the wardrobe are more payments of $35 a month, I think.
Deep cut on one of the outfits, which was pretty amazing, is at the height of Vanna's fame. So 2001, Vanna is not at the top of her fame mountain. This is at least 10 years back. But in 1989, they were trying to push her as an actress in things because she's famous.
Yeah.
So she was in a made-for-TV romantic comedy called Goddess of Love, where she played the literal Greek goddess of love, who gets stuck on Earth and starts dating this dude. So one of the outfits is her costume.
From Goddess of Love.
From that made-for-TV movie, which I'm like, that is some real fan service there.
Yeah, and that is definitely the movie that ensured that she would not have an acting career beyond Goddess of Love.
I have, somewhere in this room, I have a different Vanna doll.
Oh my god!
Because Mattel put out Vanna dolls in the 80s, like Barbie style ones.
How seamless is yours?
It's full of seams. That's the problem. I would say it's unseemly. And then there's an I Love Lucy doll too on the same page, and this is weird. Is that the I Love Lucy doll is 5 equal monthly payments of $27. So she's more. Or is it that's basically the same price?
Yeah. Oh,
so why is one 3 of 45 and one's 5 of 27?
I don't understand. Yeah, like why are the increments so much different? Like, I don't know.
And
it probably has something to do with the size of a Social Security check, and they're like, how much can we really get away with stealing from an elderly
20
person?
years older
Yeah.
than this elderly person. And this one, it has her wardrobe too, and has the picture of her with the wardrobe, but it says in little print, available to buyers of this doll at a later date.
Yeah.
Like,
also, probably because of that lawsuit, it says that 1 doll per collector. So possibly they're like, we're not going through that legal hassle again. One Vanna each, fellas.
This guy's got his under his bed is just filled with vinyl Vanna dolls.
Yeah, no, we just can't have that.
Let's see, vinyl Vanna White doll. Let's see. So, okay, all right. Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's one listed on eBay. It's the Franklin Mint 16-inch vinyl doll dressed in one ensemble.
Okay.
Pre-owned. What do you think the asking price is?
Well, it's got to be more than 3 payments of $35. I'm going to say $199.
$327.49.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a good investment then, I guess.
Yeah, and there's a few on there that have sold for like around $100. This is shocking. Because the other one, the Mattel one, is selling for like $5 and $10.
Okay. But I guess they managed to restrict the supply and keep demand up. They real good knowledge of economics, guys, at the Franklin Mint. That's why it's a mint.
It's a mint. They're minting money. It's probably Vanna doll snobs who are like, oh, I see you have the children's toy Vanna doll and not the adult collectible.
Yeah, for grown-ups who want to dress up Vanna White.
I mean,
Real
seams are
true
fine
fans.
for kids.
Yeah.
Did you pay for the Goddess of Love outfit? Because I did. Wow. Have you ever ordered anything from like a magazine or off TV?
The only thing I've ordered is I bought the Backyard Wrestling cassette once that was constantly advertised late, and it said it had been banned from television, even though it was being sold on television, and it only costs, I think, like $9. They just put you on a list for other products like that, and I remember being like entertained with my friends and watching it. I'm sure we were drunk, and then after about 10 minutes we were kind of like, oh, this is sad. Like these people are really getting hurt wrestling in their backyards. You know what I mean? It's like it's like, oh, they get hurt in real wrestling, especially when it's like a 19-year-old kid in Southern Illinois putting like a card table and barbed wire in his backyard and
on fire.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, this should have been banned from television, but not for the reason it seemed like at the time.
No.
Yeah.
That same company also sold bum fights videos.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like, it's like they decided to get out of the faces of death business, but they're like, what about someone who's just paralyzed from the waist down? Can we still sell this one?
Do you have a Girls Gone Wild, but for the whole family?
Yeah, like... Yeah, and I remember it was kind of like jaunty. The music was like very America's Funniest Home Videos. Like someone getting on and preparing to like pile drive their like 12-year-old brother, and there's kind of like an sound effect.
Yeah. Well, there was a show that reminds me. There was a show called Maximum Exposure, and it was on at this time, and it is It is the harbinger of the downfall of American culture that we have today. And I used to watch it. It was on like 99 to 2001. And I used to work at a local UPN affiliate, and they would air it on there at like 3 in the morning.
Oh my
God. And
God.
at one point, I talked to the program director about it. And at one point, he got the tape because you'd physically get a tape. And he goes, I should just probably hand this just to you because you're the only one who watches this garbage. And it was all footage like that. But the guy who was the announcer was the guy who's the announcer for the Disney Channel.
Oh my God.
And it would be like, whoa, I knew that they ate their own family in Ecuador, but didn't know it was like this. Like, it'd be like these really weird, racist, and horribly offensive things. Yeah, it was like Backyard Wrestling be like, this idiot's in a wheelchair now. Have fun. That kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, okay. MaxX. Yeah, it was... There's a little bit of footage of it online, and it seems like a parody of the year 2000.
Yeah. It's like, there's nothing. We have to just manufacture danger in our society.
Yeah, people aren't uploading it themselves on YouTube yet, so we're gonna just air it.
We got
snarky commentary.
We got to search.
They'll send it to us.
Yeah,
we'll pay them $50. So let's dive in here. Saturday night, what'd you do?
Okay, so Saturday night. Hold on. Scrolled down to look at the ads. I'm starting on Saturday. All right, I am starting on Saturday night. I'm going classic. I'm going with. I'm starting off with. I'm on MTV. I'm watching 2 episodes of The Real World here.
Yeah.
From 8 to 9. I am not going to watch this, but I want to mention that Fox at this point is still, I think, not really doing Saturday programming. So the Fox lineup for primetime is Cops, and then a spinoff, Cops: Criminals, and then Cops: Caught. And I'm impressed by that.
It's 2 hours
just
of
like
Cops.
2 hours of Cops, but they're like, we gotta switch up because Cops: Criminals. How is that different from Cops? Are they riding along with the criminals?
It's
like
Cops: Stupid Criminals.
Oh, Stupid Criminals. Okay,
Yes.
that makes a little more sense.
Says,
okay.
Stupid Criminals includes a woman who claims she was ripped off in a drug deal and a man with a joint behind his ear denying drug possession.
Oh, that's okay. Well, maybe I should have been watching Cops: Dumbest Criminals, actually.
This is big. The 8:30 Cops, though, I don't know why they're not advertising it as this, but this is a crossover. This is like the MCU of Cops.
Oh, wow.
America's Most Wanted host John Walsh rides with police in Tacoma, Washington, who chase a meth lab on wheels, which crashes and hazardous material covers the driver.
That is amazing. Okay, that's...
I didn't even know they did that. They're burying the lead there, the crossover.
Yeah. All right, I'm ditching one of these Real Worlds. I'm going to watch John Walsh. It's funny because John Walsh is somebody whose life was filled with personal tragedy, made it his mission to bring wanted criminals to justice. This feels like he's going to, like, the Carnival public access version of his show. But it's like the same team, so he kind of has to do it. You know, like he's still supporting kind of the brand a little bit.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to find this episode now. I just like him in the car, like I'm very intrigued by this.
I will also say the other thing that shocked me that I didn't realize existed is a movie that's airing on USA at 9:00 called Knockoff.
Yes.
Which stars a hoodlum turned fashion designer played by Jean-Claude Van Damme and his sidekick Rob Schneider trying to stop a global catastrophe at the hand of black marketeers. So, in theory, these are black marketeers who are making fake fashion?
Yeah, I mean, handbags.
I feel like I should have understood that this movie existed, but this was completely new to me finding this one. I'm delighted that it's there, but I was also confused that I didn't already know it existed.
They give it 2 stars, which is shocking to me because The Green Mile gets 3 stars.
Yeah,
That's on at the same time. So I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what? And I saw this in the theater, and 100%, how much do you think Rob Schneider does offensive Asian stereotypes in this movie?
I bet a lot.
Yes,
and he's
most
like,
of the movie.
Oh my God, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. They give it the same on Bravo. The 1995 movie The Perez Family with Marissa Tomei and Alfred Molina is on. That got 2 stars.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And
I forgot about that movie.
But I'm actually not going to watch. At 9 o'clock, I want to watch the very first BET Awards.
Yes, which is shocking it was that late.
And it feels like that's going to be maybe the best snapshot of its time, possibly.
Oh, absolutely.
That's available here. Like, it just seems like it could be really amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious because what was going on? Like, when did Aaliyah get killed?
Oh, like a week after 9/11.
Okay, so that was after this. Yeah, I knew it was around this time. I was like, would the whole thing just be about Aaliyah? Or not?
It's all a long extended tribute to her and her. I think the reason her plane crashed was it had too much luggage in it.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
And it kind of got lost in all the excitement of 9/11, I remember.
It's outside the purview, but I was just scrolling through the end of Saturday night, and I noticed, number one, on Showtime, the Chris Isaak Show is on, which is a lost to time show. But this episode, Chris is confined to a wheelchair. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely would have watched that, I think. Just because I remember it being... I liked Chris Isaak, and I liked the things he had done. I'd seen him... He always did, like, kind of comedy music type stuff.
He's a San Francisco guy, too.
Yeah, he is a San Francisco guy. And he lives, like, just south of San Francisco because he wanted to just surf all the time.
Yeah.
And I do respect that.
Because that show was basically Curb Your Enthusiasm meets the Monkees, but with more nudity.
Yeah, right, because there was a character who was, like, a mermaid.
Yeah.
And swam in a tank, and it was just kind of like, well, this way we can at least have 2 breasts every episode.
Yes. It's really weird.
Yeah, it was kind of a strange choice now that I'm... but yeah, that it was kind of like the Monkees. That has to be the basis for that.
But it was mockumentary prior to that.
Yeah, because I think he was breaking the 4th wall a lot.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Weird. And 2001 is also an interesting time because from the late 90s to about 2010, it was after VCRs, but before people like kept stuff. So it was like that TiVo era. So people would have things on a hard drive, but then it would just be gone. So it's weird that shows from this time are harder to see than like shows from the 70s, 80s, and 90s or shows from like 2010 on because people taped that stuff. But this era, it was like on TiVo and then gone. So like no one has copies of some of this stuff.
That's so funny. Yeah, because what would you put it on? Yeah. I remember my friend had, an old tower devoted to like old video game ROMs, basically, so he could just play emulators all the time, and So
Chris Isaak Show lost to time. No one taped it. They had it on the TiVo, and then after that, they were like, "Who cares about this?"
Yeah.
How about Sunday?
Sunday, I'm not sure why this one was speaking to me so much. I want to make sure that I have the time right on this. There's something on the Family Channel. Let me see. Do I have this right? Sorry, I'm just looking at the scan to make sure it's in the right place. They've got a movie called Night of the Twisters. It's on at 8 p.m. It's on the Family Channel. It stars Devin Sawa and John Schneider, and it's about tornadoes that rip through a Nebraska town and bond a family together. It's a Family Channel movie. I'm just really interested in the special effects that exist in a Family Channel produced movie from 2001 about Twisters. Like, is it mostly in a basement? Like, what technology is involved here? Yeah.
Sound effects and camera shaking. Yeah, they only give this 1 star, so they're saying this is only half as good as knockoff. But it's based on a novel. That's the
that's
part.
the crazy thing that I would have just thought that was a pure. Oh my god, yeah.
There's also a confusingly named movie on Showtime. At 8 p.m., there's a movie on called 3 a.m. It stars Pam Grier and Danny Glover and Michelle Rodriguez, and it
is heavily advertised too. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of advertisements, we see on this Sunday, we're getting kind of a pre 9/11, pre everybody has fast internet kind of like horny sexuality here, because on facing pages we've got an ad for the True Hollywood story about Baywatch. Which has, hunks and babes. And then we get the announcement that it is Wild Bikini Week on E! And Wild Bikini, just as a 2-word phrase, I think didn't survive 9/11. Where, but yeah, you've got Wild On, which was just a bikini show. A sexy swimsuit special marathon. Celebrity profiles of all swimsuit models and David Hasselhoff. Howard Stern has Pamela Anderson on all week. And then we got a Carmen Electra True Hollywood story, a Baywatch True Hollywood story, an E! News Daily. They're going remote. They're doing it from the beach. So
it is July 4th that week, I will say. So July 4th is the sexy swimsuit marathon. So that seems somewhat justifiable. Also want to mention, just pat myself on the back, 2 of the people featured in that True Hollywood story Baywatch photo have been on the show.
Oh, wow. Which 2?
Bottom left and upper right.
Oh, there you go. I guess that would have been my guess.
Brunettes. Yeah. Very interesting stories to tell. But I was obsessed with Baywatch for a time, as we all were as a society.
Yeah.
And I think 9/11 killed our obsessions for Baywatch.
We're kind of God.
Yeah, this is
What's
really,
the security like at that beach?
It's Wild Bikini. Yeah, that was Brooke Burke who did Wild On, I think.
Yes, yes.
And then she got replaced by Tara Reid, who then got her own show called Terradice.
Do you sometimes think about the amount of knowledge you have about like random television from the 90s? And I mean, it's incredible and I love it, but also sometimes I'm like, so many very odd things. And
why? What good is it? It's good to know one. I also totally forgot, and I noticed this on Monday during the day, so again, outside of the purview, but John Edward was massive.
That's right.
Massive.
I remember trying to explain to my mom what he was doing, because he's doing like it's something that P.T. Barnum did. Yeah, and like wrote books about and was kind of like, just so you don't get swindled by other hucksters. And my mom was just kind of like, I'd like to see what he has to say.
People loved him. And I totally forgot about this, but I was doing an episode of this show, and we did a issue from later in 2001, post 9/11. John Edward did a crossing over 9/11 special.
Oh my God.
He had the families of victims, and he was pretending to talk to their families, and he was like, maybe we can find out who did this.
I feel like that's a war crime, actually. That's... Oh my God, that is really bad.
And he disappeared. I've not been able to find anything about what happened to that guy. I just assume, I don't know. I feel like he got chased out of the country or something.
Yeah, like he crossed the wrong person, or he fled to the Cayman Islands, basically. Somewhere that doesn't extradite is where he's living now.
No. I think it's a country, I've seen a country with a B. Anyone?
Yeah.
My God. There's also a Discovery Channel show that I kind of want to watch. And this seems like early for this kind of Discovery Channel show. It's called Hotel Iguana. And it's a hotel in Venezuela where iguanas roam free.
I mean, I guess you're discovering something, but
it sounds like a show someone would be like, I know this sounds weird, but there's a show on Netflix called Hotel Iguana, and I can't get enough of it.
After also outside the purview, airing at midnight, so technically this is Monday morning. There's a movie called Pentathlon. And it's about Dolph Lundgren's an East German Olympian who defected to the West and must deal with the wrath of his ex-coach after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
It's a tough time for Dolph.
That's...
What did they give it? How many stars do we have on that one?
Oh, that's a good question. It is not even starred. So either they didn't. I think that's 0 stars.
Wow. That's bad. If you're not even getting a star and Knockoff's getting 2.
That is rough.
Poor Dolph. Poor Dolph. Man went to MIT for Christ's sake.
Yeah. He quit
House
MIT.
Party 3. Also 1 star.
Yeah. Man.
Oof.
I feel bad for these like implicit pans from TV Guide where TV Guide's like you really got to skip this one.
Yeah, and it's like, why'd you even list it? Mm-hmm. Like, if someone's up at midnight on a Sunday night, like, I don't think they care what's on. Like, they're not pre-planning enough to look in the TV Guide. They're doing flipping at best.
Now, I don't know if this is like a zeitgeist kind of thing, but there's also a Third Rock from the Sun episode. I assume it's a rerun because it's on at 7 on Monday. And John Lithgow becomes a wheelchair activist. So he's kind of taking a page out of Chris Isaak's book there.
Yeah. I mean, the two of them are always kind of, getting cast in the same thing.
That's true.
People always confuse them. Maybe it was just wheelchairs were big this week.
Yeah, I
2001 was the summer of wheelchairs. We had the wheelchair races for charity, competitive eating in wheelchairs. It was a big July 4th thing. Mm-hmm. I hate July 4th so much. Do you, I just hunker down in the house and watch Twilight Zone, and I've done that, my entire life. Yeah,
now that I have a dog, it's really not great. I honestly cannot remember what I did at July 4th last year. Now, I think I did something during the day, and then we did nothing from 5 p.m. on. Yeah, we're inside, and that was it.
Do you get people there are fireworks illegal in California?
Yeah, but, I mean, I live in Oakland, and it's like a 7-day fireworks weekend, basically.
Yeah, that's what's like here. It's for a month. They're illegal here, and it's a month of fireworks. And I'm like, really, dude? Is it that exciting?
Yeah, it's the other thing that we get in our neighborhood is sideshows. I don't know if they do sideshows outside of Oakland, honestly. It's people kind of they'll block off an intersection, and usually kind of the idea is you make it a surprise, and you sort of surprise the cops, and then by the time the cops get there, there's 200 people, and
so it's an impromptu block party.
Except it's really just cars driving around in a circle and doing burnouts, and then twice a year, an onlooker is struck and killed by one of the cars, and
so it's the slow and the stupid.
Yeah, it's the slow and the stupid. Yeah. It's but the drag race never happens because you can't block off that many streets.
It sounds like it's if a boxing match was just an hour, the two guys going come on.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I might have been more into it when I was younger, but now I'm just just go to bed, because they're always at midnight too, and yeah. And then you get people that are just attending it, and weirdly not great at parallel parking too. So you get a lot of terrible parking jobs if the sideshow happens to be in your neighborhood.
That's where roofing nails are a big plus. Oh, I dropped my box of roofing nails.
When I lived in San Francisco, though, the Mission District was kind of it was constant fireworks, but there was more of a family thing to it. Like,
Okay.
it wouldn't be big displays, and by family, I mean that, like, little children also setting off fireworks.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it felt like a little more celebratory, whereas these are it almost feels like in Oakland that there's more, like, prank fireworks. Like, they're more intended to be, like, late at night or, yeah.
I picture people being like, can't believe the thing just exploded, and they're like, do it again, see if it does it again.
Yeah, see if it does it again.
And they're like, oh, I did it again. We'll do it a third time. And I'm like, yeah.
We once had a motivational speaker for my high school that was just a guy who was going to become an NFL kicker, and then one 4th of July, he was cutting fireworks open and taking out the colored balls that would normally light up, and then they would sort of spark on the ground, and didn't realize that he was just dumping a giant pile of gunpowder into a coffee can. And so, like, the 5th time he did it, it blew off his foot. And then he got to the end and he's like, but you can do anything that you set your mind to. And we were kind of like,
wow.
How is that the point of this story? This is...
Yeah, I mean, good for him for carving out a living.
I guess, but it was like a real long story. And he seemed like he still thought the fireworks part of it was pretty cool. Like, that seemed pretty clear that he was I should have stopped before. Yeah.
We had a guy come to our school in like maybe 10th or 11th grade, and his name was Rufus, and he was a former drug addict. And I guess it was an anti-drug thing, but I'm not 100% sure. And he was just telling stories about his drug days. And he goes, you know what this is? This is a horse tranquilizer. I take this, I woke up in the basement of Filene's basement with a brassiere on my head. And everyone was like, what? That sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah,
what are you
like...
talking about? And then he's like, he had a needle. He goes, this is a heroin needle. I seen a man put this in his penis. I seen a woman put this in her vagina. And all the teachers were like, oh my God. And then the best part, the best part before he started rapping was he had a broom, and he goes, yo, kids, you know what this is, right? And I'm like, it's a broom. And he goes, when I was in prison, and I'm like, oh boy.
Oh, okay.
He goes, I seen a man get this shoved up his ass, and he died. I'm like, some guy got broomed to death.
I mean, I kind of feel like, yeah, I think he would die, but also... What are we talking about? We're kids.
Yeah, I know. It was like none of us had ever thought of doing that. And then he finished it with a rap, and the only line I remember was, I use profanity to talk to the kids.
That's fantastic.
And they were like, who hired that? They were all like, you could see their brains going like, should we stop this guy? Like, it will be worse should we just let him finish? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And knowing the kids I went to high school with, it was not effective. Over 200 kids I graduated with died from brooms.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oof. Is that, we were on Tuesday?
Monday. We're on Monday. We didn't even do Monday prime time. We got too hooked on. So at 8 o'clock, I'm watching Fear Factor. I just want to see the seeds of Joe Rogan there. If he's like talking about libertarianism or DMT somehow. But also... contestants are shaken and stirred over having to swallow a cocktail of squirming earthworms.
Are we better now than then, or are we worse now?
I we don't have that show, but Joe Rogan has a much larger platform.
Is it? I really can't tell if it's worse now that he's like, oh yeah, vaccines. Than when he was making like Playmates do shots of earthworms.
Yeah. Well, I guess the difference is he was offering them prize money, and now it's like 15-year-olds on TikTok who are like, I guess I'll drink 7 earthworms if you're going to do 6.
This is the earthworm challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, man. My dad loved that show. And even then I was like, this is like a parody of dystopia. Mm-hmm. This is like a show they would advertise in RoboCop.
That's amazing. Real. Yeah. And what's funny about this, I'm noticing the weakest link is on. Oh, no, we're going to talk about Cheers and Jeers later, so I'm going to save that. Okay. So 9 o'clock, I was very tempted by the film Unwed Father, starring Brian Austin Green as a carefree rocker and college student whose out of wedlock baby is left on his doorstep. But I'm not going to be able to complete Unwed Father by 10 o'clock, so I'm going to check out what appears to be a very weird episode of Ally McBeal where Barry Manilow and Taye Diggs and Missy Pyle are all guest stars. I have such vague memories of that show, and it feels like the cast rotated so much, and as did the situations of the show. I just want to watch one, totally out of context.
Yeah. Missy Pyle's playing an nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
Again, Ally McBeal is a show in this sort of lost era where that show was massive.
Yeah.
I don't think it's streaming.
Yeah.
No one ever mentions it. Like, no one ever watches it now. Like,
yeah, because it's
nobody.
Yeah, like, where's Ally McBeal streaming? Like, nowhere.
It's just gone. And it's such a weird thing. I think it was the thing that was responsible for, like, Robert Downey Jr.'s third comeback. I think that was, like, significant for it. One thing about Unwed Father, which it gives 1 star.
Yes.
Brian Austin Green, who I keep trying to make this happen. I don't know why everyone doesn't refer to him as the bag. But it also stars Nicole Tom, who I've had on the show as well.
Oh, wow.
Who was on The Nanny and is a good friend with Laura Keitlinger. She was in Laura Keitlinger's
okay.
TV show that she had on, which show was it on? IFC. So if and when I ever speak to her again, I need to find out all the details of this.
Oh, she's I know who that is. She's the daughter from Beethoven, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy to bring this synergy together.
We can hear all about unwed father or whatever.
Yeah.
Bag.
They really, I mean, he had a chance. It's a lot of these people are, given a chance and just see if it's their goddess of love, their unwed dad, or, if you can launch to something else.
We never got a virtually seamless vinyl Brian Austin Green doll that featured his wardrobe from Unwed Father.
It's a very good point. I do kind of feel like his character on 90210 may have opened up the door to Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
like a guy who was maybe sort of uncomfortably co-opting black culture a little bit. A different kind of masculinity.
Guy.
Yeah,
thinks he's funny and he's not. Mm-hmm. Also, Discovery Channel, fireworks, an explosive story.
Yeah, they're great. Thank God, we get the lessons that we could have learned. I need to see that. I picked one and then I realized I need to make sure the description for Tuesday, because I'm not sure exactly. I wanted to watch it, but I wasn't sure what it is. Exactly.
Little Hometown Pride on Monday, while you're looking. The debut of the show Legal Action, a look at the people behind the operations of the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. First up, cases include an alleged sexual assault.
Wow. Okay.
That'll tune in.
Okay, so I was going to pick Snoop Dogg's Loosen Control, but instead I am going to pick up on never mind. I am going to watch Snoop Dogg's Loosen Control. I thought Memories of Oz went further into this primetime block. It actually ends at 8 and then they show The Wizard of Oz. But I did want to learn about Buddy Ebsen going to the original Tin Man going to the hospital because his costume was poisonous.
Yes. I thought Memories of Oz was going to be about the prison show.
Oh, I actually did when I first saw that. And because I just saw the title and I saw Hospital. And I'm like, wow, they didn't mess around on HBO in the 90s.
I love The Wizard of Oz. I saw it in IMAX 3D about 10 years ago, and it was like one of the greatest theatrical experiences I've ever had. It was fantastic. What the hell is Snoop Dogg's Loosen Control? It's on BET. Is he just showing videos?
I think maybe he's showing videos, but I think it's like a proto-reality show. Let me see if I can find out what that actually is.
And is Loosen Control like a pun? Like, what does that even mean?
It's like he has a song called Loosen Control. It's when he was with Master P's company and had left Death Row Records.
Oh, gotcha. It was kinder, gentler. It was post-murder is the case.
Yeah. You know what? I think it might actually just be the debut of that video. This doesn't actually appear to have been.
Oh, that would make sense because they would put video debuts and they'd have like a half hour and they'd build it up and be a making of and the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. I thought this was maybe a little more than it was gonna be. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg letting us down again.
I know. Okay, so I'm watching the Miami Vice on TNN then.
So that's the movie, right?
No. It's an episode. It's just an episode of Miami.
Oh, it's an
Vice.
episode. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they have the movie yet, and I'm going to be flipping between that and the Real World Road Rules casting special on MTV for that first hour.
I was trying to remember what cast 2001 Real World was. I think it was Denver?
I think it's New York, I believe, from
right.
information I've gotten from this TV guide, actually.
You're right, because they were in New York for 9/11.
Right, yes, they were. And this is when we meet The Miz and MTV Real World Road Rules Challenge star Coral as well.
Yes,
but
Coral.
It was a guy who they made fun of because he was pretending to be a wrestler and wanted to be a wrestler, and then he willed himself to become an actual wrestler.
Yeah,
so
I had John Brennan on the show.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, The Miz is my bet is like a really good friend of mine because he's a huge wrestling nerd.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I get to go to shows with The Miz.
That's amazing. I am good friends with Irene McGee from the Real World Seattle. And
so she slapped Steven and she was better for it.
Well, she gets slapped, actually, but she throws away, outs him as a homosexual.
Yes.
Which is, controversial in both ways.
She wasn't wrong.
No, he in fact was an openly gay man before and after, but I don't know. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great experience, I think, but I'm still watching that casting special.
Her cast was with this kid I know from Charlestown.
Yeah. Which guy do you know?
Yeah, it was Jesus Christ, what the hell's his name? Why am I?
It was the guys who went to VMI, right?
Yeah. He was. All these kids I knew in punk bands lived in the projects in Charlestown, and they knew this. Oh my god! And he used to come to shows and stuff. Why can't I remember his name? Oh my god!
They cast Friends, I remember, and people are like, "Can they do that?" And they were
because they were
intending
both
to cast them the whole time. Yeah.
Dave Burns.
Yes. Okay.
Dave Burns.
Yeah.
That's it. Dave Burns.
That's fantastic. All right. Oh, at 9:00. Sorry, I didn't give you my 9:00 pick. I'm going to be watching the Dave Mirra bike stunt tour.
Are you familiar with Dave Mirra's work generally?
I mean, I assume that's what happens when Dave Mirra goes on tour, and began, a fairly lengthy relationship with basic cable television, I think, with this.
Here's a show I've never heard of, but I'm intrigued by. It's called Doc, and it's on at 9:00.
Oh, yeah. I saw the description, but I have no memory of this show.
The description is a superhero type who entertains kids at the hospital may believe in his superpowers a bit too much.
Oh, my God. Okay, so the cast of Doc is... this is a Billy Ray Cyrus vehicle.
Oh, wow. Even better.
His name is Clint Doc Cassidy. He's a handsome country doctor from Montana who moves to the Big Apple, but he's kind of down to earth, and people in New York kind of appreciate that. So he's kind of a fish out of water, but sometimes the water tries to adjust to him.
Billy Ray Cyrus as a doctor is already the most science fiction show in this entire TV guide.
And he has the exact same Billy Ray Cyrus like haircut and look, but he's wearing a white coat.
He's like, well, we got the test back, and have you considered doing the tush push booty?
Yeah. And I'm trying to see which of these actors I recognize. There's a guy named Derek McGrath who has been in 1 million television shows. You may have seen him as a recurring role on Cheers as what doesn't seem as funny in hindsight as a guy who's constantly trying to murder Diane Chambers.
Yes. Andy. He's a Canadian actor. He was on My Secret Identity.
Yes. Yeah, he's
with Jerry
just,
O'Connell.
He's in Canadian TV, he's in American TV. He of course does like 30 cartoon voices. It's pretty amazing, his like long career where he's basically never played a lead role, it seems like, either. But yeah, this is a working actor. Like any show you name, he's been Walker, Texas Ranger, Family Matters, Ellen, Doc. Well, Doc, he's a main role. He's in 88 episodes of Doc, but after that,
Hold on. Well, there are 88 episodes of Doc.
88 episodes of Doc. I don't understand this. How does this... So, I once won $20 from someone because they would not believe that the show Becker was on for 5 full seasons. This is completely incredible. Oh, it's a PAX TV show.
Oh, there's your answer.
Okay, so...
They went from doing the New Adventures of Lassie to Doc, apparently.
One of the characters is a 10-year-old orphan. So that's, yeah.
Wow. All right. It'd be funny if we found out there's actually, like, the #1 podcast right now is, like, a Doc rewatch show.
Oh, this is amazing. Miley Cyrus is in 3 episodes of Doc.
Of course she is. Of course.
Playing 3 different characters.
Oh, well, she's got range.
Yeah, she does. She's like, I want to hear that at the Grammy sometime. Where she's there. I just want to thank the writers and producers of Doc. Really introduced me to show business. Gave me a beautiful role.
Believed in me and showed I could play challenging dual roles.
Yeah. Like that helped me play Hannah Montana is that I was able to play Kylie and Raoul's friend in the show Doc.
So they clearly had Billy Ray Cyrus first. They're like, guys, big news. We got Billy Ray Cyrus. He's gonna do a show. And they're like, okay, we'll do the music show. And he's like, no, he's gonna act. And they're like, okay, maybe like a Western? And like, how about he's a doctor? Like, well, what kind of doctor? He'll just be a general practitioner.
We don't need to. He works at a hospital. He comes into Manhattan. Are they like, is it an accident? Yeah, we don't really care. Do
you think he has like homespun home remedies that like he'll be like, I'm telling you, that kid just needs a Coke and a punch in the stomach. And then they'll be like, he has leukemia. And they'll be like, I'm telling you, you're wrong. And then they'll be like, wow, we should have listened to him. Or like, whatever it is. Wow. I'm speechless at Doc.
That's amazing. I can't believe 88 episodes.
That's bonkers. Hold on. On Tuesday night, the Bag's in another show.
Wow.
He's in a Showtime show.
Is it because he looks good in a killer in a wild bikini?
I don't know. Maybe he's not in a wheelchair, best I can tell. He's on a show called Resurrection Boulevard.
Oh, which is a Showtime show I've never seen and am only vaguely sure what it's about. It
doesn't look good.
I mean, even the description of the episode doesn't really help.
No. Carlos lands a boot?
Like,
what?
I don't know what any of this is.
What does Carlos lands a boot mean?
Lands a boot? Like, I do not know what that is.
It's not about. There's a space.
I am so confused about.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's like a serious show, but I have no idea what.
Yeah. Well, Doc and Resurrection Boulevard. Again, it's the lost era of media. Everybody.
There's another one where Carlos decides to make a comeback, comeback doing what?
Do you land a boot before you come back?
Yeah, I would think you would have to.
There's also another Dolph Lundgren movie on right after Resurrection Boulevard that they've given no stars. They didn't even bother to have a description, and it's thriller, Dolph Lundgren, and it's called Tied Up.
Oh. This is a boxing show, apparently. It's a boxing show for 3 seasons.
Okay. I could see that.
Up, though. Tied
Is
Up.
it in the? I'm gonna have to flip to the movie section in the back. Let's see. Hold on. See if they give me a description of Dolph Lundgren's Tied Up. Tied Up. Yep. 1999. Language, sexual situations, violence. A former cop. Oh wow. A former cop becomes entangled in S&M while investigating murder.
So this is Dolph is struggling. He's not getting any research grants.
This is a classic. We got a title. Write me a script.
Yeah. Grace Jones isn't returning his phone calls at this point. He keeps trying to pitch Stallone with like a Made for Russia show.
Oh, wow. Poor guy. I'm glad he's doing better now. Tuesday's rough. What is Wednesday going to do to us?
It's, I don't think anything really too good, but there is a lot. This is the actual 4th of July.
Yes.
I noticed this forgotten classic, the You Don't Know Jack game show.
Yes, hosted by Paul Rubens.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I never saw it. And
it's great.
Oh, it really is?
It really is good.
I'm into it. Well, then I'm watching the Drew Carey April Fool's episode rerun, which is apparently full of mistakes. But I'm just, another thing that I felt like did not have, was big and did not, like, continue. There's not, like, a lot of, like, Drew heads who are like, I gotta watch that one again with the
people buying
caffeinated beer
t-shirts. Yeah, like whatever. Yeah. No one brings that show up. It's actually pretty funny. Like, the cast is good. It shows funny.
No, it's good. It is a good show. It's just, it feels like it didn't, it's another show where, the main guy has an absolutely correct idea of how much acting he should be doing.
Yes, 100%.
And it really benefits from that. Okay, so I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch I Don't Know, You Don't Know Jack. I'm very tempted by Top 10 Wild Party Spots with my good friend Brooke Burke at 9 o'clock.
It was just some dudes' houses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I am going to. I'm splitting my time at 9 o'clock. I think just flipping back between the two of these things. There's a 4th of July fireworks spectacular, which I'm going to be watching at 9 o'clock. And then there is also a show called Pop and Pyrotechnics.
Yes.
Pop and Pyrotechnics has the Pointer Sisters, Donny Osmond, the Metropolitan, I guess like a tenor from the Metropolitan Opera, Luther Vandross, and a country singer performing with a high school choir at the Irish tenors saluting Ellis Island. For some reason, there's a tribute to Stanley Kubrick.
That is what I was going to say. It gets real weird. He just died, I think. It was.
Oh, that must be it. Yeah.
But that's still weird.
And I'm picking that over the tribute to Brian Wilson, who, I don't know. I think it's the 4th of July. I just want to see, there's something sort of like, it feels like it's misguided a little bit, having a TV show about fireworks. So I just almost just want to see what they're doing with it. Oh, okay. So the rival show that I will be alternating with, that one has a little more star power than Barry Bostwick. It is narrated by Martin Sheen, Kelsey Grammer, Gary Sinise, and Angela Bassett. And that has performances by Bon Jovi and Jessica Simpson. I'm basically just going in between those two channels, just seeing as like the
contrast
based on like who's performing at the time. There's something that seems very pure about John Bon Jovi performing in front of a fireworks display, especially if Gary Sinise is describing what's happening.
He might be in a wheelchair. I think he's going to be in Lieutenant Dan character.
I think like, so he has a band that performs, and they do their it's all the money does go to like veterans causes, and so it's very nice, but it does feel a little bit like Hanksian too. When you talk to Tom Hanks, you see Tom Hanks. I saw him give a graduation speech once, and he was talking about the military like he had served.
Yeah.
And not just in like Forrest Gump and
Or the volunteers.
And the volunteers. I mean, he has been in a lot of like probably movie boot camps, Saving Private Ryan. He produced Band of Brothers, but he is
forgot
like,
he wasn't in Stripes.
Yeah, he's like, well, and he's also the same way with the space program, where he
that I believe.
He's produced shows and he clearly likes it, but I feel like there was a point when it was a little bit blurred. Like, did I actually do that? Like,
Right, it's like an honorary degree.
yeah, he's kind of stealing space valor, I feel like. And again, he's doing it generally in a very charitable way. And Gary Sinise is the same way, but I'm also kind of like, you weren't in the Army. Like,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
But that's who I want to spend the 4th of July with. A guy who is a little bit confused about his own military service.
And you totally passed up Garth Brooks' Independence Day 2001.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize. Yeah. I was
Diane
overwhelmed.
Sawyer and Charles Gibson anchor coverage from Philadelphia, which includes dramatic readings of the Declaration of Independence by Mel Gibson, Kathy Bates, Morgan Freeman, Michael Douglas, Edward Norton, Whoopi Goldberg, Graham Greene, and Kevin Spacey.
Holy shit.
Norman Lear takes a look at Norman Lear and then Garth Brooks performing. This is wow.
Well, I think I must have always gone out for the 4th of July, but they are really bringing out the big guns for this. Well, they're bringing out the little guns.
Well, 2001 though. And this is pre 9/11. Like some of these specials, I'm like, okay, I would get if they were like really being like, this is we're all pro America, but I'm surprised by this.
Yeah, it's pre, and it makes me think that this is something that was happening for years. Like, it's not like these are minor, and it wasn't. Okay, so maybe it's the 225th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Maybe that's something, but no, it's not. 225? Who cares?
No. Yeah.
So I guess like my whole life, I could have been watching televised rock and roll fireworks narrated by our greatest actors.
Dramatic readings.
I had no idea
Bostwick
that
singing "I Love a Parade."
And it also feels like it could never happen again. Like if you describe that to someone, people would just make fun of it on the internet so much that it almost feels embarrassingly earnest here.
It's like a Simpsons joke.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look at the stuff I don't know if you go all the way back to 1976, if TV Guide was there.
Yeah, I got him.
There's like a large amount of very strange bicentennial programming that happens all the time back here.
Bicentennial's definitely strange.
And it'll just be like someone explaining, like B. Arthur explaining a passage from the Constitution, and it's just kind of on. Like,
I feel like for the 70s though, like that, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'll allow that.
Yeah, this is a time when there is a fair amount of irony already, you know?
Yeah. This, like, people would injure themselves rolling their eyes to this. At this time. Like,
it's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some amount of the population that would be like, "Wow, this is great," but not enough to warrant 4 rival 4th of July shows.
That is crazy. Yeah, and that people are just kind of like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stay in and watch the fireworks tonight."
So out of curiosity, and I've never done this on the show before, I've pulled up 1994 4th of July TV Guide.
Okay.
We'll go 7 years before.
Great. Okay, awesome.
Where am I here? Just out of curiosity, was this an every year thing? Big article about Jake Steinfeld and his muscles. Where are we here? Scrolling. One moment. Because this seems unusual. I feel like this wasn't... Because maybe like year 2000 I could see. Like it's the year 2000. You know, everyone overdid everything. But
yeah, right.
All right, there we go. July 2nd. Yeah, and it's not even like July 4th on like a Saturday night or something. It's just a Wednesday. Let's see. All right, 1994. Okay. This just happened to be the first one that I pulled up. Yeah. So it is.
No, this is a randomized trial. You're not.
Yes.
You're not. You don't have your hand on the scale.
We got Twilight Zone Marathon and July 4th on a Sunday that year.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. It's a Monday. And we got James Bond marathon, which seems weird for the 4th of July.
Yes.
The network television premiere of Dangerous Liaisons.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I don't know why you'd do that on 4th of July. Twilight Zone marathon. What do we got for big shows here? We got Pop Goes the Fourth, which, you know, aired all the time. That we didn't even mention it, but it does air.
Oh, yeah.
A Capital 4th 1994 celebrates the event's 15th anniversary with a bang-up fireworks display and includes a tribute to Henry Mancini, who died in June. Among those slated to appear are Faith Hill, Aaron Neville, the Neville brothers, John Raitt, Florence Henderson, and Joel Grey.
What a combination.
And then New York's annual 4th of July is pyrotechnics and performances by Judy Collins and the cast of Damn Yankees. So, I mean, not as big.
But, yeah, it's still a lot of televised fireworks. I mean, any televised fireworks. Like, I think I kind of knew that you could put on, like, whatever your local public television station would have something about fireworks.
A musical salute to Thomas Jefferson with readings by Sam Waterston.
And this is like pre-Sam... Oh, I guess Sam Waterston had played Lincoln before.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, he wasn't quite in the Sorkin verse yet, but I think that's why he is the choice then. Like, it makes sense that it is Sam Waterston, but I would have thought, like, later Sam Waterston. But
There's also a thing called Subfest 94, which I'm like, is that an eating contest? But it's fireworks at the U.S. Navy's submarine base.
Oh, I thought it might also be a Dolph Lundgren movie about him getting into the world of BDSM, yeah.
In the 4th of July fireworks spectacular with the cast of Damn Yankees, it's hosted by, it has a message from President Clinton, and it's hosted by Avery Brooks.
Wow.
All right,
is
so
pretty incredible.
Every year, maybe there's just some crazy thing we haven't been paying attention to.
Yeah, that's really great. I love that.
This is a huge revelation. This is like a alternate reality we were completely.
I know
that.
I'm like, would Doc and then 4th of July shows again. There's a million of them, and we didn't know they existed. Basically,
no, we'll have to. Well, I know what I'm doing this 4th of July.
Yeah,
not watching those. Thursday. Did you go Big Brother because you're a big Julie Chen head?
You know, I was thinking about it because it's the season premiere, I think. Yeah. And what's funny in looking at this close up on Julie Chen is that apparently nobody voted each other out in the first season.
They were too friendly.
Guess probably America did it. So it seems like it's like a totally different show. Like, it's okay. The reason is, I think Survivor premieres the year before.
It was summer 2000, yeah.
Okay, so Big Brother comes out and it's not a success. And it is in other places. And then they decide, this has to be fake Survivor now. Like, we need challenges. We need people to be voted out. And they're still in the house and filmed all the time. But so I'm kind of into that. The other things I was choosing between a profile of basketball great Connie Hawkins, unfairly blackballed for the league for being tangentially tied to gambling, and then the other thing,
sports guy. We've barely mentioned that.
And then I'm like, that seems kind of cool, and it's weird because the ESPN made all these sports centuries for, I think it was some anniversary, and they had a controversial list of 100 athletes, and then they made 30 for 30s, which just eclipsed them in prestige and popularity, because they basically just said, like, this is going to be cool. You have this budget. And then after they made 30, ESPN was like, well, it was our 30th anniversary. We made 30 films. And then the people behind it just said, no one cares. People like these. Why don't we make more of them? And finally they were like, whoa.
They don't even know what it means. We'll do 31 for 31.
Yeah. By the way, I once pitched ESPN a bunch of I don't remember what it was, but like 5-minute documentaries
About
which
mediocre
I still think are a good idea. Yeah, because it was like about like the San Diego Chicken. One of the shows was about athletes who also had musical side projects. Like I just remember Jack McDowell, the old pitcher. He used to be a rocker. And
Alexi Lawless?
Alexi Lawless was a bass player. Scott Spezio had a band called Sand Frog. Like
there was a guy who was a catcher for the Red Sox.
Well, the Red Sox, Bronson Arroyo had a band, and Jake Peavy plays guitar too.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the Giants had a coach, Tim Flannery, who played guitar and would sometimes write like earnest and embarrassing songs about the team, but also they'd like drop in with Grateful Dead cover bands and just play guitar, and then that was really cool. But yeah,
guys, are you the Super Bowl Shuffle? No.
Yeah.
Are you Stone Cold starring Brian Bosworth? No. Then I don't care about it.
Yeah.
Are you Refrigerator Perry's action figure? I'd watch a 30 for 30 on that. Just the figure, not him.
Yeah. Exactly. Like that's like everything that's kind of dumb. Yeah, the San Diego Chicken ended up having like a life-changing career because he answered a classified ad for like a $70 gig to dress up as a chicken for like 4 hours.
Because there was the baseball bunch. They had that Saturday morning show. Like, yeah.
And eventually, like, got into a legal dispute with Ray Kroc's widow, the founder of McDonald's widow, because they were trying to take a piece of his mascot stuff, and then he was like, well, I don't need to be called the San Diego Chicken. Like, I'm performing all over the place. I'm the famous chicken.
I'm just the chicken. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the
They were
chicken.
like, oh, yeah, he's actually not really... It's not really a lot like Southern California or the beach. He's a chicken.
Yeah, you know those chickens were known for surfing?
Yeah.
I want to see a documentary just about Tommy Lasorda's relationship with Slim Fast.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Yeah, like what did he feel a lot of pressure to keep the weight off? And I remember 100%. There was also the other one I wanted to get more into is there was a very strange commercial featuring Oral Hershiser, the old Dodgers pitcher, for Johnson's baby shampoo. And it kind of made sense because he was a real like clean cut kind of Christian guy. And at the very end of the commercial, and it almost feels like it was put in there as if they got the footage and they needed to use it, and he like ad-libbed it, and someone maybe didn't like the Dodgers, because at the very end of the commercial where he's just talking about Johnson's baby shampoo, showing his hair, brushing his hair, he goes, yeah, I shower 4 or 5 times a day. And it's like, wait, what? Like, did you just admit to, So that was strange. Oh, the other competitor for 8 o'clock, by the way, is a show called It's a Miracle, which is, one of the stories is about a woman who uses her cellular phone located in a diaper bag to foil a carjacking involving her and her infant daughter. I just like the idea that the concept of this is that someone has a cellular phone, basically.
Yeah,
like
that's
the notable event that, like, this is a story worth telling now.
I would 100% have gone with Meteor Man, still underrated movie, Sci-Fi Channel showing it. Love that movie. Also, you may be the only person who will appreciate this story. When I was 9 years old, Dennis Eckersley called me a little dick.
Oh, wow. Was that before he had quit drinking, or...
I don't know. We were at the beach and he was there, and I didn't know who he was because I didn't care about sports. And my family was like, go get that guy's autograph. And I was like, oh, can I have your autograph? And he goes, I'm with my family, you little dick.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then I was like, I actually went, I don't even know who you are. My uncle told me to get your autograph.
He's weirdly, I saw him I think he must still live in the Bay Area. Oh, no, he's in anyway, he must have been doing some A's thing. He was at the Oakland Coliseum. Remarkably slender man for a man like in his 60s. He used to be a professional athlete, but he didn't call me any names.
Well, he might call you a normal sized dick if you're like an adult.
9 o'clock Meteor Man is very tempting, as is making the video about a Ludacris video. Yes. But I'm going with the first hour of the Lifetime movie, The Sleepwalker Killing.
Yes.
It says it's a drama about a man who's accused of murdering his mother-in-law, but who claims he was sleepwalking at the time and can't recall the incident. I just think that the Lifetime touch is gonna make that one special.
1 star on that one. I just had a guy on who directs a bunch of those Lifetime movies.
Oh, that's great.
It was really fascinating because he said the thing he had to get used to was the structure that they give them is built around commercial breaks, but also he goes, if you notice, the last 20 minutes, nothing really happens. Like there's no big crescendo. And I was like, but that's not how you structure a story. And they're like, look, the people who tuned into this, they're just going to watch to the end at that point.
Oh,
we don't need to spend money on a big ending. If they're in for an hour, they're here for the second. And like literally they're like, why would we bother to have a big ending? They're already here.
That's amazing.
And I guess that makes sense.
It does make sense. And
that's not how you make a movie.
That's so weird. I mean, and again, it absolutely makes perfect sense. It's just, I would never have thought about that. And it also explains, I've not watched a ton of Lifetime movies, but that is something where you're kind of like, well, they caught the bad guy. Is there going to be another twist? No, there's not. And in fact, we're going to be returning to a previous filming location too. We're not even scouting a new spot for the rest of this action.
Just kind of slowly fade out for the next 20 minutes. Nothing else does happen. Final night of the week, Friday night. What you got going on?
So I'm curious what season of Making the Band this is, because there is a famous story, and I think this might be the right time for this. Kevin Garnett, Celtics great Kevin Garnett, tells a story about watching an episode of Making the Band, and they're telling the guys to get their stuff together and like really focus on going on the road. And he got so hyped about the episode that he punched a hole in the wall of his home. So if either of these Making the Bands is that one, I 100% would like to see that. But I'm also very tempted at it. I mean, that's 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock that those are on. And I'm also, by the way, all the stand-up comedy that I've been seeing is like people I do not remember or have heard of at all. I was like, man, should I volunteer this premium blend? And I'm kind of like, I don't remember.
They're not famous enough that I've heard of them, or not unfamous enough that I've performed with them.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly it. Peter Johansson. I don't remember Peter Johansson.
I know Jake Johansson.
Yeah. Okay, and then the other thing that I'm tempted by that starts at 8 o'clock is a WGN movie called Runaway Train, where John Voight and Eric Roberts escape from prison only to get trapped on a locomotive hurtling out of control. This received 3 stars.
That movie's awesome. I think it's from 85. It's an awesome movie. It's Canon Pictures, and it's by far like the best movie they made.
Oh, that's great.
It's just a good action movie.
That's sweet. And at 9 o'clock, I'm watching Copperfield: The Great Escapes. David Copperfield escapes from Alcatraz while evading timed explosions, which is hilarious, and attack dogs, and freeing himself from chains while on a burning raft headed to Niagara Falls. I mean, no notes.
That's quality TV. I mean, they should do that same show, but with a not a magician.
Yes,
and have that be Fear Factor.
Yeah, here you go. Well, we got you this lock-picking kit, and you get 10 minutes with this locksmith, and then there you go.
You're on a raft on fire, but there's water all around you, so it's not a problem. Also, it's Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Good luck.
That's a lot better than a worm shooter. So then, as you know, TV Guidetron, it's not just informative. It has opinions and a cheers. So to wrap up this week of June 30th to July 6th, 2001, let's read the cheers and jeers and see if we agree or disagree with TV Guide this week. This is always my favorite feature because it's super bitchy. Nobody has to sign it, and so it gets really weird. There's 2 jeers, 1 cheer. So we start with a cheer. Cheers to a tough job well done. TV's coverage of the Timothy McVeigh execution posed any number of difficult issues for journalists, but the networks and news channels generally met the challenges with taste and dignity. In particular, ABC's Good Morning America, as McVeigh was being put to death, ABC, CBS, and FNC scrolled the names that showed photographs of McVeigh's 168 victims. FNC, which is what they called Fox News Channel at the time, tribute was especially poignant as the names appeared without comment or musical accompaniment.
This was it was just such a weird thing to see.
Cheers to the death of
To
Timothy
the execution of Timothy McVeigh. Great job, guys.
Wow. Then let's see what they jeer. Jeez. Jeers to tampering with history. Like it or not, the folks who brought you those virtual ads digitally imposed on the football fields and in baseball stadiums are expanding their horizons. One video technology company, Princeton Video Image, reportedly is in negotiations to insert product placements into syndicated reruns of Law & Order. Time magazine reports that PVI demonstrated its technological wizardry to potential clients by placing a box of Snackwell cookies in the kitchen of Gladys and Albert Kravitz, the neighbors on Bewitched. But can they replace Dick Sargent with Dick York? Until then, we'll take our classic reruns without modern day voodoo.
Voodoo. Truly incredible. There was a stretch in like the mid 90s to mid 2000s where there were 10 million jokes about the different Darrens on Bewitched,
Yes.
and that they were both named Dick. For a show that I never really watched, I was always like, yeah, I guess that's something that Gen X is obsessed with, sort of. But also, it's very funny that TV Guide's like, we'll pass on these ads in these reruns, as if it's not like, no thank you.
Literally on the page opposite Cheers and Jeers is a giant ad for Pall Mall.
Pall Malls, yeah, because they burn slower and they last longer.
That's the new filter.
Yeah.
Then jeers to NBC's gamesmanship. So how does the network rebound from the XFL debacle? By following up its coverage of the NBA Finals with silly, self-serving halftime sports versions of The Weakest Link. Does the network really think basketball fans want plugs for Ann Robinson instead of more game analysis? And does Robinson have the staying power to endure the relentless promotion? Link hasn't entered its second season and its welcome is getting weaker by the minute.
This was amazing for me to remember the very brief time that America had Weakest Link fever, because I don't even think it was... I mean, it was maybe on for the second half of the season, probably.
Yeah, there's a mid-season.
And I remember people like pretty quickly were like, she's pretty off-putting.
Yeah.
And the concept of the show didn't really rely on that either, because it was kind of like, oh, this is interesting to see if people will... like, try to cut out the better players. There's some kind of game theory to it. And then it was just this sort of, like, troll-like British woman saying sassy things, which is, like, feels like a note you'd get from a network executive, but also one where you'd be like, wait, what's happening right now?
It's funny because it was in the wake of Millionaire, which everyone was like, we all love Regis. And they're like, wow, who else is like Regis? How about this lady? She's probably the same age.
Yeah.
They got the same haircut.
Yeah. You know how you've known Regis for decades, and he's always, like, very affable and, like, a calming presence? This is a British lady you've never heard of, and she's really mean to everybody, and you don't really know why. And especially because the Weakest Link was, like, presented like, oh, you're going to cut out the Weakest Link, and very quickly they were like, oh, no, we're kind of worried about this guy beating us in the end. We got to... Which was also a Survivor thing at the time, where they were kind of like, well, obviously they're going to pick the best outdoorsman, and
well, it's like you know, I think there's a lot of people who'd like to watch Millionaire, but Regis is just too likable.
Yeah.
Can we do this show with just someone who's a real dick?
I will say, I think they called it because they're like, yeah, I think the appeal of this show's wearing off, and it really did. It really did.
Yeah. But at the same time, I liked it that, like, and again, I'm not a sports fan, but one of the most tedious, boring things is analysis of games.
Oh, exactly. Like, no one wanted that. Yeah.
Because there's nothing you're going to add. Like, one team has to beat the other. Talk about it all you want. Yeah. But, like, give something a little more interesting in there. You know, I give them credit for trying something. I mean, it's not like... Yeah. It's not like they showed McVeigh's, putting to death between
the games. They're kind of like, how would Shaquille O'Neal have defended this lethal injection? You know,
or they have an analysis like his executioner is going to be Bob Stinson this week. This guy's got a good record.
Yeah. They're like jeers to them having the weakest link lady read the name of all the victims. It didn't need those bells and whistles. And
as soon as he died, they put her on saying, "You are the weakest link, Timothy McVeigh. Goodbye."
Goodbye.
That was the cross. That was the way they promoted the show. Oh. Well, this has been great. This has been very eye-opening for me, which is unusual.
Yeah, I feel like I have been like Mandela affected a little bit with Doc. That's crazy.
It's my life's mission now to find someone who's a fan of the show Doc.
Yeah.
Who's even seen it?
What if there's like a Doc Becker feud? Like,
what if there's like a convention?
Doc hate Becker.
Oh yeah, and they're just like, it's Hatfields and McCoys. It'd be funny if there's a Doc convention and people dress up like him and like.
Amazing.
What would the fans be called?
Oh yeah, Patience? No, they'd be like, we call ourselves the Board.
How about this reboot / new version of the show set in San Francisco, Dock of the Bay.
Oh, I like that. And instead of Billy Ray Cyrus this time, Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
He's people don't think he can be a doctor, but he can. He's good.
He's a country doctor. He's got a different way of doing things. Yes. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been great.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. And again, I feel like my world has changed. So that's what you want on a podcast appearance.
That's Sean Keane. Buy his new record, America's Uncle Dad. If you have a couple bucks, go to patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor and sign up for that. I very much appreciate it. I am at Kenneth W. Reed or at TV Guidance on all the social media. tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com, ken@kenreed.com. I'm out and about a little bit more, so be on the lookout for that. Either follow me on socials or shoot me an email, and I can tell you if I'm coming to your town. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you know. Who knows? But maybe next week we'll know. So hopefully you'll be here then for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
Yeah, is it seamless? Virtually.